Did you know that starting in April 2026, Canada will impose a shocking rule? You won't be able to withdraw more than $500 in cash at a time? Sound crazy, right? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the cash you've always used freely is now restricted. This isn't a distant future. We're talking about just a few years from now. But why would a developed nation like Canada impose such a limit? What's the reasoning behind this bold move? What happens when your own money is controlled in ways you never expected? With this new rule, everyday life could feel a lot different. Whether you're someone who relies on cash for privacy or just the simplicity of holding physical money, this decision could change everything. How will it affect you, your spending, and your financial freedom? Stay tuned as we uncover 10 shocking reasons why this move is more than just a policy change. It could be the start of a new era in finance. Number 1. Financial privacy at risk. Imagine a world where every dollar you spend is being tracked. With a ban on cash withdrawals over $500, this is exactly the reality we might be facing. Cash has always been the one tool that lets people keep their transactions private. Whether you're buying a coffee, paying for groceries, or just handling a personal transaction, cash allows for complete anonymity. But when you're forced to rely on digital transactions, every purchase leaves a digital footprint. The government, banks, and even companies could track every cent you spend, which raises major concerns about personal privacy. Not only will your spending be tracked, but data mining companies and tech giants will also have access to more information than ever before. The shift to a cashless society is seen by some as a necessary step toward modernizing the economy, but for others, it's a disturbing loss of control over their own finances. Privacy advocates warn that with every move to eliminate cash, the chances of your personal financial behavior being monitored grows exponentially. You could soon find yourself in a situation where your every financial decision is being watched, analyzed, and even used to predict your future spending habits. This might sound extreme, but it's happening already in parts of the world where cash is becoming obsolete. If you value your privacy, this could be the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. The question is, are you ready for the government and corporations to know everything about how you spend your money? If you're concerned about the loss of privacy with these new rules, we want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below. Let's talk about how this could impact you. And if you want to stay updated on these shocking changes, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's just one click. Number 2. Increased vulnerability to cyber threats. With the rise of digital transactions, we're seeing a major shift in how money is handled. While it might seem convenient to swipe a card or use an app, this reliance on digital systems comes with significant risks. Hackers are constantly targeting banks, payment systems, and even your personal accounts. The more we depend on electronic payments, the greater the chances of these systems being compromised. Once the cash withdrawal limit is imposed, this vulnerability will only increase. If you're only allowed to access small amounts of cash, and everything else is locked behind digital barriers, how secure is your money? Digital payment systems, no matter how sophisticated, are not immune to cyber attacks. In recent years, data breaches and hacking incidents have become more common. From credit card fraud to identity theft, the threats are real and growing. In fact, research has shown that cybercrime related to digital banking has spiked in recent years. As Canada enforces the $500 withdrawal limit, individuals will have to rely more heavily on online transactions, which means the risk of becoming a victim of cybercrime will escalate. Moreover, think about the potential disruptions that could occur if major payment systems experience outages or technical failures. A widespread system crash could leave millions unable to access their funds, and with no cash alternative, you'd be left stranded. The more we transition to digital-only payments, the more power we give to hackers and malicious entities. While technology has undoubtedly made financial transactions easier, it has also opened the door to a whole new set of risks. Are you prepared to take on the increased danger of having all your transactions exposed to potential attacks? Do you feel safe using digital payments, or are you worried about the increased risk of cyber threats? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. It's just one click, and you won't want to miss more crucial updates. Number 3. Impact on vulnerable populations. When a new financial regulation is introduced, the first people it affects are often those who can least afford the changes. Vulnerable populations such as seniors, low-income families, and rural residents rely heavily on cash for their daily needs. Many of them don't have access to high-tech financial tools like smartphones or online banking systems, and they're often not as comfortable with digital payments. For these groups, cash is not just a preference, it's a necessity. With a new withdrawal limit, they could face severe challenges when trying to access their money, especially in emergencies. The elderly, for example, may have difficulty adapting to digital payments. Whether due to a lack of digital literacy or limited access to the internet, many seniors struggle to navigate online financial systems. A simple cash withdrawal may be their most reliable way to pay for everyday expenses, such as medical bills or groceries. Now, with the restriction on withdrawals, this group could be left without a clear, accessible option for handling their finances. For the most vulnerable, it could feel like society is pushing them aside, leaving them unable to access their own money as they always have. Even rural communities, where access to banking infrastructure may be limited, could find themselves left behind in this digital transition. Rural areas often don't have as many ATMs or banking services as urban centers, and this new rule could make things even more difficult for residents who rely on in-person banking. These changes, although aimed at creating a more modern financial system, might leave people who are already struggling with even fewer resources to manage their finances effectively. Do you think this new rule will disproportionately affect vulnerable groups? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. It's just one click, and we've got plenty more in-depth insights coming your way. Number 4. Undermining economic freedom. When it comes to money, one of the most fundamental freedoms we have is the ability to access it whenever we need it. Cash has always been the ultimate form of economic freedom, allowing people to make purchases, save, and conduct transactions without interference. But with the new restriction on cash withdrawals over $500, this basic freedom is now under threat. People will no longer have the same control over their financial independence, as they'll be limited to what they can access from digital platforms, which are increasingly subject to government regulations and corporate influence. This new rule effectively means that government and financial institutions will be able to dictate how, when, and where you spend your money. If you can't withdraw large sums of cash, your ability to pay for certain things, whether it's a large purchase or an emergency, becomes constrained by the digital systems in place. This shift could lead to a significant loss of autonomy in everyday life. Without the freedom to choose how you access and use your funds, you may find yourself at the mercy of external systems and the restrictions they impose. The broader issue here is the loss of choice. Economic freedom allows individuals to make decisions that best suit their needs and circumstances. But with these new limits, we're being told how to handle our own money. And this raises an important question. If we can't even access our cash without limits, how much control do we truly have over our financial futures? The introduction of this withdrawal cap signals a shift toward a more centralized system that could diminish the power of individual choice in the financial world. Do you feel like your economic freedom is being compromised with these new restrictions? Let us know in the comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. It's just one click, and you don't want to miss what we have coming up next. Number 5. Increased dependence on banks and payment providers. The introduction of a $500 withdrawal limit marks a significant shift in how we interact with our money. It's not just about how much cash you can access, it's about how much control you're giving to banks and payment providers. As physical cash becomes less relevant in everyday transactions, individuals will have to rely more heavily on digital banking systems to manage their finances. This growing dependence on banks and payment platforms might seem convenient at first, but it's important to consider the hidden costs and potential risks involved. Banks and payment providers are powerful institutions that have a lot of control over your financial transactions. With the new rules in place, individuals will be restricted to smaller withdrawals and digital transactions, which means more money will be flowing through these centralized financial systems. The more we rely on banks, the more fees, penalties, and service charges we might be subjected to. What happens when these fees begin to pile up? For instance, transferring money or using digital payment platforms can come with additional costs, especially if you need to make emergency withdrawals or payments. These fees are often hidden in the fine print, and as the system becomes increasingly digital, the financial burden may fall on consumers. Moreover, this move could give these financial institutions even more power over your spending habits. As digital transactions are often tied to monitoring systems, your financial decisions can be tracked and analyzed, opening up the possibility for more targeted ads, fees based on spending patterns, or even restrictions on your purchasing behavior. The introduction of this $500 withdrawal limit isn't just about limiting cash. It's about increasing the power of these institutions and making us even more dependent on their services. How do you feel about becoming more dependent on banks and payment providers for your financial freedom? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe. It's just one click, and we've got a lot more to share with you. Number 6. Rise in inflation. One of the most significant potential consequences of restricting cash withdrawals is the impact it could have on inflation. When more people are forced to use digital payment systems, there's a hidden cost that could come in the form of higher prices. Digital transactions, whether through credit cards, apps, or online platforms, often come with processing fees. These fees are typically passed on to consumers, meaning that every purchase made with a digital system could become more expensive. Over time, this shift to a predominantly digital economy could lead to an increase in the cost of goods and services, effectively contributing to inflation. As businesses and consumers become more reliant on digital systems, the costs of those systems, such as transaction fees, maintenance, and security measures, will likely be passed down the chain. This would mean that businesses have to charge customers higher prices to make up for the additional expenses of handling digital transactions. Studies have already shown that countries transitioning to cashless economies have experienced rising costs for both consumers and businesses, as digital platforms often require a more complex infrastructure and come with higher operational costs than traditional cash transactions. The shift to digital-only transactions could also accelerate inflation in more subtle ways. For example, when cash is used, people often feel more connected to their spending, as it's tangible. Digital transactions, on the other hand, can be easier to ignore or overlook, leading to an increase in spending habits and, in turn, inflation. If people feel like money is more abstract in digital form, they may spend more liberally, further fueling inflation. So, while the move towards a cashless society may seem like a step toward modernization, it may also come at a significant financial cost in the long run. Are you concerned about the potential rise in inflation from this cash withdrawal limit? Let us know in the comments. And remember to subscribe. It's just one click, and we've got more essential updates coming your way. Number 7. Potential for black market growth. As governments and institutions clamp down on cash transactions, the unintended consequence could be a rise in illegal or black market activities. If individuals are restricted to withdrawing only small amounts of cash and are forced to use digital payments, those who want to bypass the system may turn to more underground methods. Historically, when the government or financial institutions place limitations on currency or impose heavy regulations, it's created opportunities for black markets to thrive. This has happened in many countries before, and it could very well happen in Canada as well. People who are unable or unwilling to use digital payment systems may begin to engage in transactions that happen outside the purview of official financial systems. Whether it's paying for goods or services in cash under the table or participating in unauthorized financial dealings, a restricted cash flow could drive more people toward these illegal alternatives. Criminal organizations often thrive in these environments, where regulation and oversight are minimal. As cash becomes increasingly harder to access, more people could be tempted to enter these illicit markets, leading to a greater risk of economic instability. Moreover, the rise of cryptocurrencies in recent years has been partly driven by the restrictions placed on traditional financial systems. With governments limiting access to cash and digital payment systems subject to heavy surveillance, decentralized digital currencies allow individuals to make anonymous transactions, free from government control. While cryptocurrencies offer some benefits, they also raise concerns about their use in illegal activities. The $500 withdrawal cap in Canada could further fuel this trend, as more individuals seek alternative ways to protect their financial autonomy outside the formal system. What do you think about the rise of black markets due to these new rules? Will it drive more people into the underground economy? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's just one click, and you won't want to miss more updates. Number 8. Less control over personal finances. One of the most unsettling impacts of the $500 cash withdrawal cap is the significant loss of control over your own money. For years, cash has been a symbol of personal financial freedom. It allows individuals to make purchases without worrying about digital platforms, hidden fees, or transaction tracking. But when the government imposes limits on how much cash you can withdraw, you're essentially being told how to manage your own finances. The more you depend on digital systems, the less control you have over your financial life, and the more vulnerable you become to the whims of financial institutions and government regulations. Digital transactions may seem convenient, but they come with strings attached. If you rely on debit cards, apps, or credit cards to access your money, you are subject to a system that is entirely controlled by banks, credit card companies, and payment processors. This means that if these systems experience outages, errors, or even security breaches, you could be left without access to your funds. The new rules around cash withdrawals will only add to this uncertainty, as it makes it even harder to rely on cash as an emergency backup. Many people have used cash for years as a safeguard against financial system failures. But now, with digital platforms becoming the only real option for large withdrawals, your ability to act quickly in a financial emergency could be severely hindered. Not only does this limit your control over day-to-day spending, but also raises the risk of your financial decisions being influenced by algorithms or automated systems. You may no longer have the freedom to make instant financial choices based on your needs or desires. Instead, your spending will be tracked, categorized, and potentially restricted. The $500 cap signals a future where your ability to access, spend, or save money will be determined by systems outside your control. Do you feel like you're losing control over your personal finances with these new restrictions? Share your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe. It's just one click, and we have plenty more to share about how these changes might affect your life. Number 9. Increased cost of doing business. For many businesses, especially small enterprises, cash has been a simple and efficient way to handle transactions. It's quick, it's reliable, and it avoids the fees associated with digital payments. However, with the introduction of the $500 withdrawal cap, businesses could find themselves facing a new set of challenges. If customers can no longer withdraw large sums of cash, it will force more people to rely on digital payments, which often come with extra costs. Business owners will have to adjust to this new reality, which could result in increased operational costs and ultimately higher prices for consumers. The transition to digital-only transactions comes with a variety of fees that many business owners may not have to deal with when accepting cash. Processing fees, subscription charges for payment platforms, and maintenance costs for digital systems can quickly add up. For small businesses, these added costs could be a significant burden. They may have to raise their prices to cover these expenses, which would directly affect consumers. In turn, this could reduce consumer spending, especially for those already struggling with the higher cost of living. Additionally, not all businesses are equipped to handle the transition to a fully digital system. Many small stores, particularly in rural areas or underserved communities, may not have the infrastructure to accept digital payments or the expertise to navigate complex payment systems. This could lead to some businesses losing out on customers who prefer to pay in cash, while others may face disruptions in service or higher operating costs. The new withdrawal limits may not only affect consumers but also jeopardize the livelihood of small businesses trying to keep up with this major shift in how transactions are handled. Do you think this will hurt small businesses? How will they adapt to the rising costs of digital payments? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Just one click, and you won't miss out on more insights like this. Number 10. Uncertainty about future regulations. The $500 cash withdrawal cap is only the beginning. Once these restrictions are in place, there's a real possibility that more regulations could follow. As we move further into a cashless society, governments and financial institutions may continue to impose more rules that limit how, when, and where you can access or use your money. This growing uncertainty is something we all need to consider because it could drastically change the way we handle our finances. If Canada moves forward with this measure, it could pave the way for similar restrictions in other countries, creating a ripple effect that limits financial freedom worldwide. The fact that we're seeing major shifts in how people can access their money raises important questions. How far will these changes go? Will the cap on cash withdrawals extend beyond $500? Will governments have more control over other aspects of our financial lives, such as savings, investments, or the types of transactions we can make? These are the uncertainties that could shape our financial future, making it harder for individuals to make independent financial decisions. With each new regulation, our financial autonomy diminishes, and we may find ourselves living in a system where our every move is dictated by digital platforms and state policies. This uncertainty can cause anxiety for individuals and businesses alike. The inability to predict future regulations or understand how they will affect day-to-day life can lead to confusion and a lack of trust in the financial system. As people become more concerned about their financial freedom, we could see an increased demand for alternatives like cryptocurrencies or informal banking solutions. The future of personal finance may look drastically different, and we can't afford to ignore the potential implications of these regulations. How do you feel about the uncertainty surrounding future financial regulations? Do you think this is just the beginning? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Just one click, and you'll be the first to know about these critical changes. The new $500 cash withdrawal limit in Canada is not just a financial policy. It's a glimpse into a future where our access to money is more controlled and less private. The 10 reasons we've discussed today show just how impactful this shift could be, from eroding financial freedom and increasing vulnerability to cyber threats, to the economic implications it could have on small businesses and inflation. More than just a rule change, this is a step toward a digital-first world where the traditional ways of managing money are rapidly disappearing. As we've seen, the consequences of this decision could be far-reaching, not only limiting personal financial autonomy but also creating a system that benefits large institutions while leaving everyday people more vulnerable. Whether it's the potential rise in black market activity, the uncertainty about future regulations, or the increased reliance on digital systems, the picture isn't as simple as just moving forward with modernization. These changes could have serious repercussions on those who are least equipped to navigate them, especially vulnerable populations who are reliant on cash. In a world where we're already facing increasing economic pressures, this move may feel like just one more hurdle. It's essential to stay informed, question these changes, and understand the broader implications they may have on our personal freedoms. It's up to us to consider how these shifts will impact our financial lives and whether or not we're ready for this new reality. We've covered a lot of ground today, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the $500 withdrawal limit. How do you think it will affect you? And what can we do to protect our financial freedom? Don't forget to support us by subscribing. It's just one click, and we put a lot of effort into bringing you these essential insights. Stay tuned for more.